We have to stand strong against this evil. There's a verse of scripture, Ephesians 6:12, and it says, "We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of this dark world." And we wrestle against spiritual wickedness in high places. So my message to the American people is simple. Armor up and get ready for the spiritual battle ahead, because it's going to be a battle.
Give it to me like...
Hey YouTube, welcome to my hub. I hope you guys are feeling good today and you're ready to vibe with me. Please leave a like to let the algorithm know that we're here, and subscribe to my channel for more content from me. Let's go.
Could this be a grand experiment? It's very possible as well.
Are you getting into we're living in a simulation?
I believe that we're living in a simulation.
I don't understand it. I don't understand when people say we're living in a simulation. I have no idea what they're talking about.
So if you understand that
They get anxiety.
we're still talking about a creation, right? So we believe, most people believe that we're living in a created universe. I happen to believe so because when I look at the science, the quantum physics proves to me
Absolutely.
that someone or something created this. This doesn't just pop up out of the blue and just, hey, here we are. There's a universe with people in it. So if you look at the quantum physics and what's been done recently in laboratories, scientists were able to do something incredible. They created an 8th dimensional quasi-crystal. Now this 8th dimensional quasi-crystal, it gave them a glimpse into understanding the 3rd dimension, and this is how. When they positioned it in a particular angle, it created, excuse me, when they positioned it in a particular angle, it created something called a 4th dimensional quasi-crystal. And when they positioned the 4th dimensional quasi-crystal in a particular angle, it cast a shadow of a sphere. And the sphere is our universe. So they discovered that we are living in the shadow of a higher dimension. In other words, the angle of a higher multi-dimensional quasi-crystal potentially could be what has created this gigantic sphere we call our universe. And what's interesting about that is this is a shadow, but not a shadow of darkness. It's a shadow of light. It's a light matrix. We're talking about the spiritual technology utilized to create this entire realm. This entire realm was created with some type of spiritual technology, and this technology is so incredible, it's imbued with divine matter, divine wisdom, divine knowledge, but it's also imbued with darkness. But what's interesting about the darkness in this yin and yang, it always seems to be a battle against each other, but in the end, for the most part, the light always seems to win. Even if it takes a long period of time, the cycle happens where the darkness leaves and the light comes in. We're sitting in a room right now that's pretty well lit, right? If I was to turn on something dark, I couldn't make the light dim any. In other words, there's no darkness I can inject into this room with these physical lights that would make this room dark right now. But if I turn all these lights off and just do something as simple as turn on the light on my cell phone, the darkness will flee from that light instantaneously. So the smallest amount of light will make darkness flee. And so I take that to the universal scale, because I believe it's all fractal. I believe that it's all as above, so below. And it's all about how many conscious beings does it take before the darkness flees. There's a number that we have to hit. When we hit that specific percentage of number of awakened souls on this planet, that's when it will flee. What we're talking about is obtaining Christ consciousness. I get a little emotional about this.
In the Bible, guys. Listen.
Sorry.
Beautiful.
So we're talking about this. See, Christ never said he was returning. Jesus never said he was coming back. He said that Christ will return. We're talking about this. When every single person gets this right, it's back. And we're back in the golden age.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You want to take a break?
Yeah.
Our world and our universe is so mysterious, guys. But I do agree, as it is in the Bible, the Christ will return. And that's consciousness, guys, to put it in a nutshell for y'all.
And that's why psychos run the world. Because they don't give a fuck. They don't feel guilt. They don't give a shit. They'll fucking kill anybody. You know?
Feel
And
no
people,
fear, no
we should
pain.
be killing them, but we don't because we can't deal with
No
the guilt.
guilt.
Right? And what do psychos do? They stay in power by killing loud, nice people. Martin Luther King. Loud,
They're putting them in jail.
nice. I know he banged a bunch of broads. Who gives a if nice people start killing psychos, okay, maybe then you wouldn't have a swirl of trash the size of Texas in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Do we work on that now? Because there's psychos in the world, and all they end up doing is trying to keep improving golf equipment so these man-titted fucking
Turning the world upside down.
Have you ever noticed that the world is run by psychopaths, and why is that? Today I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why the world is run by psychopaths. But before we start, please make sure to follow along. Number 1, they're emotionally disconnected, which means their thought processes are not connected to emotions.
100%.
And so they can be ruthless, bold, and risk-taking, which can be seen by other people as strength characteristics, and so people tend to elect them to be leaders. Second, our financial economic system tend to reward those who lie, cheat, and manipulate, and who are ruthless, and the system tend to reward them by promoting them and reward them financially as well, and put them in position of power. Number 3, psychopaths crave power, which means they just love to be in control of people and circumstances, and also they love to destroy and make people suffer, and being in a power position gives them that platform to do that. Number 4, they can be very charismatic and charming, which can manipulate other people into putting them into power position or electing them into power positions. Number 5, they're not concerned by morals or ethics, and that's because they're just simply apathetic. So ethics usually prevent a normal person from committing atrocities, but psychopaths, they're usually not bound to ethics, and so they are able to move up to power positions even if it means destroying other people.
Yeah, guys, so I subscribe to the idea that the world is ran by psychopaths. And you know what? It's funnier, the fact that they stay in place for a very long time. Well, we're talking about like more than 50 decades. I mean, we're talking about the old people that ran the world in the 60s are still in town, you know, still around, just ruling and telling us what to do and whatnot. So what does that say? What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below.
You are not your body. So therefore your spirit ethereal body has a different food source than your physical body. If you fuse your spirit body or your ethereal body with your physical body, you can eat directly from the source. So the soles of your hands, the soles of your feet, the palms of your hand, these transmute energy. These are your 11 chakras. Your aura is you have 7 levels of existence. You only see them with the 2 eyes, which is the 3rd dimension, which is the densest level. You have a 7th eye, which is your crown chakra. When your kundalini is flowing, you're supposed to know this, Mr. Amira. When your no, it's Egyptian as well. When your kundalini energy is flowing and all your chakras are aligned, your light body is permeating, and your light body takes over the physical realm. And you see, once your light body takes over the physical shell, now you eat on that realm because that is the driver that's in control. So you have never transmigrated the physical realm, so you don't have no experience. So yes, I astral project all the time. What are you talking about? I leave this shell all the time. You're not on that realm. I go to the 5th dimension all the time.
Wild.
No drugs, no nothing. So you're not functioning in your higher self. Your understanding is down here. So what I'm saying to you, you can't fathom.
His etheric.
I'm in college and you in 5th grade and you trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Now getting back to the point. You are stuck and you're not listening to what I'm saying because you argue with me egotistically. You're not arguing me from a spiritual point of view. When it comes to the physical realm, you have 7 eyes. You got your 2 physical eyes. These see the 3rd dimension. You got your 4th eye, your 5th eye, your 6th eye, your 7th eye. These are all chakras within the head. Not the 7 body chakras, but the head chakras. You see the world from these 2. You don't see them from these other 6. I mean these other 5. So with that being said, you don't operate on your spiritual body. Now when it comes to the first original language, if you were actually able to transcend and study history, you would know that the first physical language was not physical at all. The first language was telepathy, and we emitted colors and we spoke through colors because we were light beings. Before we became physically condensed, we were ethereal and light entities. So now when it comes to the original language, you have to understand that the fact that you even use a vocal cord, you are at a lower frequency. You don't function on your mental plane. Let's find out.
Mania.
They right there. What do you mean?
65 million years old.
What do you mean?
I'm like
Let's read the whole
overwhelmed with all
article.
the
I didn't read
information.
the whole article. What do you? We can
Okay.
read the article right
Okay.
now.
No, that's what
Talk about.
Because it's one thing to toy around, play around, yeah, you my man, you right. Does it really matter? If he's kicking out knowledge, even if he's 85% correct, embrace him.
That's right.
That's how you love him. You add on to it. You don't give little sidebar jokes and snickering. You don't do that.
You add and multiply.
Don't do that. Don't that example. Not to be. It doesn't matter. Not to be disrespectful, but while we standing here and while y'all keep sizing up each one's dick size every fucking day y'all do this, the white man continues to pick us off.
That's right.
Let's handle them,
Speak,
and then we
sister.
can fucking do that shit in-house.
Right.
Y'all can look in the mirror
For
in the
sure.
bathroom later. Let's deal with what we need to do now.
And size it up later.
Peace.
Guys, what do you think about our first language being telepathy? What do you think about us being in our etheric mind before becoming condensed? Because we came from light bodies. It makes total sense to me. Leave your comments below. Let me know your thoughts.
I'm going to step out and take a huge risk. I believe one of them may even get a diagnosis of a terminal illness that will become the impetus for the truth telling. That will say, what does that even matter? I don't, and so mark that. But I believe the Lord is beginning to do things and administrate, and not all these people will be believers. By the way, not all of them will be Christians. That's why I believe the phrase is truth teller. It's not the same as Christian.
Puerto Rico, you have
telling
alien mermaid.
is different from Christianity.
Yeah, no way.
Guys, this is Puerto Rico. This is where I'm from. I believe Aguadilla. Never been there myself. I was young. Seems like they're swimming right on top of a UFO. USO submerging unidentified object. Yeah, that's my people for sure. That's their accent. That looks like an alien, or it looks like a mermaid to me. Anything is possible, guys. Look.
Smell, that stench, and the footprint on the ground. I mean, everybody talks about that stench. If you ever take like a skunk, multiply that by like 100,000, that would give you some indication of the level of like how putrid and nasty. It was paralyzing.
Let's explain what happened to people who haven't watched the documentary to the deceased military officer.
Yeah. So right after the 3 girls, about an hour later, there were 2 military guys on patrol, on the lookout for something unusual, what they were told. They didn't say a UFO had crashed. They were on the lookout for something highly unusual. They were about 1.5 blocks to 2 blocks away from where the girls had seen the creature a couple of hours earlier. This thing runs across the car in front of them. He had slammed his brakes on. And without a moment's hesitation, Marco jumps out of the car and grabs the thing with his bare hands. He puts it in the back seat and they drive it to a clinic. And the doctor is like, what the hell is that? Get it out of here, leave. And then ultimately it went to Humanitas Hospital. And that's when the Americans flew in to Campinas. The United States Air Force came in and didn't have the authorization of the Brazilian government. He was like, this thing can't land. He said some higher up came in the room and said, let it land. Then they loaded something on the airplane and then off to the United States. And that's where the case goes cold. I mean, the military officer, the guy that drove the creature around, I was sitting across from him. You can't see his face, but I did. And I'm looking this guy in the eyes. I'm thinking, I could be looking at a guy that drove a fucking alien around. You have no idea, dude. You have no idea.
How did he describe it?
So fucking intense. When I came back from that trip, people were like, how was your trip to Brazil?
Trip.
What was it like, man? They got great, smoothies and coffee, and I'm just like, you guys have no idea. I think an alien spaceship crashed, and they recover live aliens, and we made contact, and the Americans came in. That's what I'm thinking about. So I told a couple people. On the last trip I came back, I was just like, I was so rocked. I couldn't reintegrate back into culture. I was just like, fuck, I think this happened. It's the biggest story ever. So people were asking me, even my neighbor who runs that Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Swallowing hard.
James, He goes, bro, I like you a lot and I got a lot of respect for you, but you lost me on this one. And I was like, I don't blame you, bro. I really don't. But listen to the witnesses. Just, that's all I say. Just, and I would tell people, and I realized I can't talk about it. All I can say is just listen to the witnesses. Don't take it from me. But I'm looking at that guy in the eyes, Joe. And I've been at this for 30 years.
Talk about
I've made I'm working on my 7th film right now. I'm looking this guy in the eyes and I'm like, this guy probably drove an alien around. And it tripped me out so hard. And it ruined his life. He's to get this guy to go on camera, just like a week earlier, he was like, I don't care all the money in the world, I'm never coming forward. The risks are too high.
How did it ruin his life?
Because you're harboring this secret. You're being watched. You're being told not to ever talk about this. And you're looking over your shoulder all the time. And they call you, the military calls you periodically. They want to know where you are. And he's got this secret inside him that he can't tell the rest of the world. And he's thinking about all the different, everyone's out there speculating, is it real, is it fake, is it real, is it fake? And this guy drove a body around. Just think about that for a second.
What else was years old when they found out that Black Friday is actually a ritual that they use to celebrate the day that they would sell African American
I've always thought about that.
people for half price the day after Thanksgiving. How inhumane
go
can
about
this
Black
holiday,
Friday like
this
it's a
tradition,
holiday.
this country that still uphold this shit
so vulnerable.
be?
Back in the days of slavery, the African-American slaves would cook up a nice Thanksgiving turkey meal for their masters and entertain them throughout the night. They would force the slaves to entertain their friends and family, who would then vote on which slave was the best entertainer and which was worst. The loser were then sold at auction the next day, which they called Black Friday. The slave purchasers knew the day following Thanksgiving there would be an auction, so that go prepared for the sale. They would get up early every morning, hoping they would be the first one in line, similar to today's Black Friday. Hundreds would show up hoping they could be the first to purchase the slaves that were on sale.
Nothing new
This
under
was
the
the one
sun,
day out of
guys.
the year that the slaves were.
Sorry for cutting up that little video loop, right? They just gets me so irritated, the subject. I don't know how long it's been since I don't participate in rituals. It costs me nowadays to participate in Christmas, participate in Thanksgiving, participate in birthday parties, because you are literally still doing a ritual. Once you understand the concept of this reality and what is ran off of that is satanic agendas and rituals, you no longer partake. You just literally don't participate. And if you do, it's just probably to keep somebody smiling and not sad. So, you know, you do things. You go to your grandma's house during Christmas and whatnot. But in all reality, I'm checked out. I'm checked out. I'm very conscious of what a ritualistic thing is. For example, a Black Friday ritual. That's crazy. It's crazy to me.
Come on, you want to take Google Earth to the synagogue of Satan? All you got to do is type in Washington, D.C. Go right there to the Washington Monument and then back up a little bit. And we're going to go to the Lincoln Memorial. It's going to be right here. It's a temple. And it says the people put their back against the temple and then face due east. And then you'll see the Washington Monument right there. Of course, that's a big obelisk. And it says facing the rising sun. I think that's 666 all over it. There's that triangle right there. That's on the back of the $1 bill.
I see it.
And this is all next on the trumpet. The number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Lincoln's staring straight at the first 666 I'm going to show you. The Washington Monument is 555 feet tall. And if you take that, 555, times 12 inches, well, there's the number. If you remember at the beginning of the video, there was a big triangle right there behind the Washington Monument. And if you use the measuring tool and you put the tip of it right there at the bottom of the pyramid, you'll see that same number come up again right there. The pyramid is just like the one on the back of the $1 bill. And if you count the lines of the streets that go through that particular piece of pyramid, I mean, you do know this stuff's all over the internet.
Are you guys surprised? I'm not surprised.
Synagogue of Satan.
He's funny.
6,660 feet is the underground entrance to the Capitol. So at the other end of the Capitol, where the pyramid and the obelisk are, is a Lincoln Memorial, which is a temple, and it faces east. And I'm going to tell you all about that in just a minute, but if you click on that little blue ellipse right there and scroll around a little bit, you can see right inside the temple, and there's Lincoln sitting in the chair with his back to the temple. It says temple right there.
Freemason. He was a Freemason.
Lincoln has his back to the temple facing east. This is the book of Ezekiel in the Old Testament. Men with their backs towards the temple, facing towards the east, and they worship the sun towards the east. That's him in the temple right there. And that obelisk is exactly what he's facing east. This has got stonemason/Freemason written all over it. Washington's stonemason ponytail with his back to God. That's because
all
Washington
these presidents are Freemasons.
You know it's painted right
we
there
ran by
on the
them.
dome of the Capitol. Washington ascending into heaven as a god. Washington ascending into the heavens. I am a 33rd degree Mason and I'm going to heaven. One of the greatest abominations pointed out in the Bible is when men have their back to the temple facing east, worshiping towards the rising sun.
It's giving their backs
Turning your back on
to
the
source
temple,
God.
just like turning your back on God. Bro, you got all these people shaking their heads down here. You know we always got room for one more in my family. So please like and follow the trumpet for more. And in Jesus' name, have a blessed day.
There's so many truthers who are deceived to think that this rocket is hitting the firmament dome. But I'm about to show you the truth about what it actually hits. Get ready. But many people think that that rocket hit God's firmament dome, and that's why water appeared, because they thought that it was the waters above the firmament that were causing that water type appearance. But they did not hit the firmament, because God said in Proverbs 25 verse 3, the heaven for height and the earth for depth, and the heart of kings is unsearchable. So we know that the height of the heaven is actually unsearchable. And remember, in Genesis 1, God called the firmament heaven. So they cannot search the height of the heaven or of the firmament. They will never be able to reach the firmament. What you saw was a superfluid realm called the ether that they are hiding from.
Superfluid
This realm
called the ether
is also known as the blue air. And there's actually explorers who
also
trap
called
samples of this air.
scientifically blue
So when you see
air,
this blue type liquid, you're seeing the superfluid ether realm that's above us. It starts at about 73 miles up. And it is not
critical
the firmament.
thinkers.
It is a dense realm of air that is referred to as a superfluid. Back then, they used to believe that the ether permeated space. The reason they're hiding this ether from you is because it actually proves that the earth is not moving at all. So I want to show you this document here that's talking about the ether, right? It's normally transparent, meaning you can't see it.
Stupid.
But it can be made visible by hitting it sufficiently hard to knock out a part. Alright, so we know that ether can be made visible when it's hit by something, right? Now you see the superfluid realm being hit. Now look at this moon footage. You have these little waves going across.
Oh, I've seen
another one.
waves on on top of the moon.
So we know the moon is traveling through this ether type realm. Now this is why in the 1900s they conducted the Michelson-Morley experiment to try and prove that the earth is moving through the ether realm. This would prove for them that the earth is moving through space. Because remember, they said that the ether permeates space or makes up space. Well, guess what? Lo and behold, they did not observe the movement of the earth through this ether realm. So what did they do? They pretty much proved that the earth is not moving. It's stationary. It's not moving through space, or it's not moving through this ether realm. Of course, because God's word is true. He told us the world is established and that it cannot be moved.
gajillion miles per
So
hour.
then what happened? Einstein released his special theory of relativity. And then the physics community started to accept that the ether does not exist. But of course they're going to say that the ether doesn't exist because it disproves the ball earth.
Of course.
But of course, 50 years later, here's more documents. The failure of the U.S. attempts to attain supremacy of the ether. So they know this ether exists. They're just not telling you.
It's right there for you.
Here's another one where the U.S. tried to obtain supremacy of the ether once again. And like I say all the time, they have to put things right in your face. So of course they added into popular video games like Minecraft. You have the ether dimension. Here it is here. What do you see? You see that blue super liquid type fluid realm. Of course they made it blue because they put it right in your face. Here's another game. You have the ether. That's why it's blue. That's why our sky is blue. You're looking at the ether realm. A super fluid. This is why it's important to read your Bible first before you start believing conspiracy theories, right? Because no one can reach the firmament. God told us they cannot measure the heavens for height. God bless you guys. I hope you can spread this information on to someone who got deceived by this. Don't forget to like and follow. I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, this is not our sun. No cap, that really ain't our sun. Our sun is supposed to be a hexagrammatron and or a circle shape. It is neither one of those shapes at this moment.
I've never
Finding
heard of that.
number one. Why does the sun have a refresh rate like a fucking screen? Just keep watching it, you'll see.
Facts. Not the same.
And since when is the sun a big ass white light? It's always either been yellow or orange.
Question everything.
Look at that thing glowing. I ain't moving. The second finding is that it looks like a 1 billion watt light bulb. It looks like an LED bulb. And if you watch this video closely, you can actually see it refresh.
Yeah.
Gets brighter.
Like a light bulb.
And then it gets
like a light
smaller.
bulb. It's
weird. It has a lemon shape to it. It's almost like you need a blue light filter out here.
Light bulb.
Yo, while everything is going around the world, all these weather anomalies are going around the world. The ice in North Pole has completely melted.
Bringing you that
and
latest.
in Greenland, they found a huge 200-mile UFO.
How many of you know about the object in Greenland?
My God.
A couple of you, okay. Well, for those of you that don't know, there is a spacecraft.
I love this, guys. I love this.
As you know, the North Pole has melted completely. You can go from London to Moscow or through Russia by going over the North Pole. All the ice cap is gone. The last place that has ice on it was Greenland. Greenland had a 18,000-foot ice cap on it.
Look at Josie.
Well, the spacecraft...
Shout out to Josie, my Floridian neighbor.
Center of Greenland created the last ice age 50,000 years ago. It's a weather machine. It's 55 miles wide, 300 miles long, and 2 miles high. People that lived in it were called the Moys.
Weather machine.
You draw a straight line from the spacecraft to the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., through the Yucatan Peninsula, Great Pyramid, and Mitsubishi, that ends up on Easter Island where the Moys have been dug out of the earth. The heads on Easter Island, well, 2 years ago, they finally went ahead and they excavated, and they're all 65 to 85-foot people, full-body carvings. And these were the people that lived in the spacecraft that was uncovered that's melting out of the ice in Greenland. So when you think we've been alone, these people have been up there for 50,000 years. The spacecraft is still active after 50,000 years. It has a 200-mile dampening field where no electrons can flow into it. In 1947, a B-52 bomber flew into that pattern, into the dampening field, when trying to fly between Maine and London. As a result of that, they lost power and crashed in Greenland. As they sent in rescue B-52 bombers to rescue them, they hit that same dampening field, but they veered off. They just ricocheted off of it. By testing, trying to get to these guys, they were able to bring a circumference and find out that there was an object 200 miles to the center of this field. On the southwest corner of Greenland, there is a
great time to be alive, guys. I'm so excited.
That community is a military post, CIA, that uses a compressed air generator to operate diesel engines to run a Caterpillar to run back and forth 200 miles from the base to the object.
It's crazy.
A lot of our technology comes from the reverse engineering of the spacecraft. It is still functional and it's still in operation. So it's pretty important what this thing is. All the nations worldwide are up there with the United Nations.
So beautiful.
The point is that we're not alone out here in this universe.
I completely apologize for the music, but that music was already there and I couldn't remove it.
You're good,
Could this be the reason why where all these weather anomalies are happening as well? Because again, the weather has been weird, and then they find this 300-mile long wide machine that
who knows, right?
created the ice age 50,000 years ago,
right?
and now all the ice is melting. What is going on, y'all? And the weather is literally acting up. I really don't know what to make of it, but you know, now things are just getting weird. Things are amping up, you know, especially with the weather and nature. What do you guys think was going on? Please let us know down in the comments below. Like, share, and follow for more videos like this, y'all. You already know what to do. Keep up with me on my other accounts, especially on my YouTube, where I go
Follow
deeper
my
on the esoteric
Floridian
level of these topics at
Josie,
hand.
Conscious Josie.
Let's get this shift, y'all. Peace in.
The Age of Aquarius is here, and I am all here for the Age of Aquarius, guys. Truth is being revealed little by little, so let's just have fun with it and be conscious. Just wake up to the truth once and for all. That is it for this montage, guys. Thanks for sticking with me, hanging with me. It means everything to me. Please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. YouTube, take care and be safe. Ciao.